Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in. Happy Thursday to you. I hope y'all are doing well here on a Thursday. I see the sun peeking out our windows here in southeastern Wisconsin where we are.
It was like 40 out when I was driving in. It was nice. Drove with my window down.
That's not nice. There's nothing nice about 40, and I don't even want to know how cold it is in like Duluth, Superior. Y'all listen on 710 The Game, or in Wausau, 93.9 The Game, or Green Bay, Appleton, 99.7 FM, WNFL, and of course here in Milwaukee, southeastern Wisconsin on the Fan, 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, the Fan. I want to make an announcement. I know they made an announcement on the show before us, the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thundernells, presented by Verizon, about Mason's softball celebrity game that's coming up in July. So congratulations to them and having another game. I'm guessing we'll all be involved again. I haven't talked to them yet, but last year I got to be the MC, which was fun.
You're not going to play this year? Come on.
No, I don't.
Get on the field.
No, I'm not getting hurt. No,
you're not going to get hurt.
Nope, not getting hurt.
Tommy laid out and he was fine. He was cool.
He's like 20 years younger than me.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, no, it's not. You just want to laugh at me as I break a rib or something, falling down, going around a base
probably.
or something. No. So we have our own announcement, but our announcement concerns Wisconsin Sports Radio Network as well. Now, as we were talking about yesterday and earlier today here in the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, a big charity event, Give Big Green Bay, 24-hour fundraising event, 50 different organizations. Packers were involved making a donation as well, matching donation and so forth. So lots and lots of people involved. They weren't the only matching donors. There were others. Trevor Thomas was out on location broadcasting his side, I guess you could say, at the Inside Wisconsin Sports Morning Show. Josh was here in Milwaukee, and they had Doug Gottlieb on. Aaron Popke from the Packers was on. A member from Give Big Green Bay was on as well. It was a great morning show this morning. Go back, listen to it at wisportsradio.com. So Trevor just sent me the final results for Give Big Green Bay for 2026. I played this game with Charlie before we came on the air. He could not believe the number. So 50 organizations, 5,955 donors. They raised $3,692,659, y'all. Way to go.
That's insane.
That's how you step up and you support. That's how you do it. That's exactly how you do it. A+. I don't know how many of y'all donated from outside of Green Bay that listen to this network. If you did, much appreciated. Thank you very much. If a lot of this was all just in Green Bay, y'all should be super duper proud about stepping up and doing that. That is just awesome. $3.6 million raised for Give Big Green Bay 2026. And next year, goal's got to be $4 million, right? If you got the 3.69 this year, goal next year, probably $4 million. So congratulations to everybody involved. Very, very cool event. Our first year ever being kind of involved in it and helping promote it and stuff. And proud to be a part of it. And hopefully we had some impact ourselves. Coming up on today's show, going to be some baseball Brewers stuff going on for sure. Bret Boone, MLB insider, former big league player as well, just sat down and did a podcast with Mark DeRosa from Team USA, manager there, former Cub, all that fun stuff. But obviously Bryce Terang is on Team USA. So reached out to get Bret Boone on and talk about that. Also get his thoughts on the Brewers, the NL Central. So we'll talk with him coming up in about 15 minutes. Also, we are going to talk more about the Crew coming up at 3 o'clock. Jack Stern from BrewerFanatic.com will join us coming up at 4:20. He wrote a great piece on this Brewers managerial staff because if you remember, they decided it sounds like based on the piece written by Jack Stern, was Matt Arnold and Pat Murphy. Now, they weren't going to have a bench coach or whatever goofy name they gave Ricky Weeks last year. They weren't going to do that anymore. They were going to do it with less. I will tell you that when I read it, it feels like we're cheap. We don't want to spend money on another player, that another person to be on that staff, and we can do it with who we have. Why spend money on? That's how I read it from having been in radio my whole life. That's how I read it, right? And I'm sure those of you that work in other businesses know. I mean, the name of the game now is how many different tasks can you do at one time for the same amount of money? You can do 6 things, and I can get rid of 2 people. You're in. You two, see you later. And I don't have to give you any more money, and you're just going to be able to do everything. The more you can do, the more cross-trained you are at your job, the more job security that you have. This isn't breaking news. This is how it's been for quite some time, right? So in this instance here, I can't wait to talk to Jack Stern and see how he read the room and talk about how all the responsibilities are going to be divided up amongst this current coaching staff for the Milwaukee Brewers. And we'll get his thoughts on spring training as well, coming up at 4:20. So to start things off, we're going to start with the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Nagler, Cheesehead TV. Cheesehead TV. Put out a tweet earlier today. And when he put it out, I was reading it. And he has a source. Obviously, I don't know who that source is. But it says, tough look for the Packers in this year's NFLPA grading from a source. And it's all nicely typed out. It says the Green Bay Packers fell 14 spots in this report card for the NFLPA to 21st overall, the steepest year-over-year decline of any team. The drop is driven largely by the decline in ratings for the training room and training staff, which now rank in the bottom third of the league. Players report a lack of space and outdated recovery equipment, along with a lack of communication and trust in the training room. These issues are a top priority players identify to be addressed. Players report that the team does not provide game day child care as most teams do, contributing to their bottom third ranking for treatment of families. The team's nutrition program similarly ranks near the bottom of the league, with players wanting improved nutrition plans and more nutritious food options to better support these plans. Head coach Matt LaFleur dropped a full letter grade this season and ranks second to last in the league in respect for players. Let me read that line again. Head coach Matt LaFleur dropped a full letter grade this season and ranks second to last in the NFL in respect for players, according to Aaron Nagler's source on the NFLPA report card. Our question is this. What do you make of it? What do you make of him being second to last in respect for players? Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the socials, WI Sports Radio. As we broadcast live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky, Charlie using over there. I read this shocked. Absolutely shocked. Like, I want to see them. I want to see these players' report cards that came in. I really do. I'm very curious. Because the one thing that has been relatively consistent outside of McManus, that would be the outlier. Outside of McManus, everybody that plays for this dude, front-facing at least, likes him. Everybody talks about loving to play for Matt. I mean, think about it. How many reports or stories or tweets or social media posts have you seen from current or former players that have been mad about their time in Green Bay and having to deal with Matt LaFleur? Again, outside the McManus thing, going back and forth with LaFleur earlier this year about his health and kicking and all this other stuff, I don't remember seeing much of anything from guys. Micah Parsons was praising the Packers as far as how they do things and how things are run and how much he loves Matt LaFleur when people were questioning if Matt LaFleur was going to be here long term. And the dude's second to last? Second to last. Now, I'd like to know, did the Packers know this before they gave him the extension? Do you think Ed Policy knew that he was second to last in the league on respect for players before he gave him that contract extension? And if the answer is no, would he still have given him the contract extension? Would he still have felt comfortable with it? Had he seen that number, that grade? I'm telling you from my perspective, if I'm managing an organization or whatever, and there seems to be a lack of disrespect between GM, president, whatever, and those people that are underneath them, and it's a toxic work environment or not a great work environment, that type of stuff, you got to change leaders. You got to change leaders. Because regardless of what everybody thinks, you work better when you're happy. You work better when you enjoy coming into work. You just do. If you're at a job and you're just punching a time card, can't wait to get the hell out, and I've been here for 5 minutes, is it time to leave yet? Because I hate my job. And odds are you're not going to do as well as if you liked your job and enjoyed being at your job. And unfortunately, a lot of people hate their job, which sucks. But in this situation here, when you had a choice to make about keep or let go of the head coach of what you were going to do, I'm fine keeping Matt LaFleur. That's what you want to do, because I don't want to break up the play caller from the quarterback, even though a lot of you all want him to throw the ball 100 times a game. I didn't want to break it up, so I was fine with it. But if I knew this information, I would have reached out to several players from my leadership committee or whatever they got over there for the Packers, and I'd want to have a conversation like, what is this all about? What is going on? Because I was not aware of any of this, right? Isn't that the conversation you want to have?
I think so. And I think if you are the GM or the president of football operations or any kind of upper management spot, you should not be excited about hearing this. You should be pretty mad about hearing this. And if you knew already, I think that's pretty poor of you to allow this to get out at all. I haven't seen any other teams release any other kind of information or have any other kind of whistleblowers or anything. This is not the type of stuff you want to get out. So not only are you mad at Matt LaFleur, but now you're trying to figure out how this got out. Because I'm going to assume you guys were part of the group that didn't want these NFLPA report cards to come out then, if you have ranked this bad just overall as an organization. I think this is also just so strange. And no, I wouldn't have given Matt LaFleur that contract extension if I heard this. All the best coaches that I've ever had, I know I've never been to the NFL level, but at the same time, the ones that had these closer relationships with the players, the ones that could name every single player on the team and be able to walk up to anybody and have a conversation, those guys always stuck around and were able to build this kind of morale that I don't think Matt LaFleur, based on what we're hearing, based on the way he talks about Brandon McManus alone, that he doesn't talk to kickers, or the way that he talks about the injuries, unless these players just kind of make their own decisions, tells me he's not having those same kind of relationships with the team around him.
Not good. I'll get one call in here and we got to get to Bret Boone. John in Hartford, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's going on, John?
Hey, Sparky. This is way deeper than Matt LaFleur disrespecting players. This goes all the way back to Aaron Rodgers being given everything he wants, Mark Murphy taking over control and making a three-headed monster. There is no leadership on this team anywhere. And you look at the guys that have gotten away. Jair Alexander, what he got away with for years. Romeo Dobbs, what he got away with. Rashawn Gary getting full starter money for playing half a game and putting in crap effort. This team is a disaster, and it's going to be a dumpster fire the next 2 years, and they should have gotten rid of everybody.
I don't know if I necessarily agree about getting rid of everybody. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. And I don't agree that it's going to be a dumpster fire. I fully expect this team to come out and win 10 or more games this year. I don't know if that's 7 seed or what it ends up being, but you expect that to occur. You expect that they're going to take another step forward with some of these wide receivers. But like has been the case for the last several years, they have to stay healthy. If you continue to be hurt with all of your prominent players in the postseason, it's going to end up the same way. I don't care who the coach is. I don't care who the GM is. I don't care who the owner is. If you can't stay healthy in the playoffs, see Giannis, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. Coming up next, Bret, Boone, MLB insider. Did you have something, Charlie?
Yeah, I was going to say that's why it's also concerning that the training room has such a bad grade for this team.
So,
too.
yeah. So underneath that tweet, there were people saying that the training room is actually is in the process of being renovated. And that's part of the reason why these guys are upset.
That's crazy. No,
I don't know.
I highly doubt that.
I don't know. Bret Boone, MLB insider, comes up next. A former big leaguer. We'll talk to him about Team USA, the Brewers, NL Central. Straight ahead, Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
Miller, Garciaparra, Bellhorn, and McCarty. From third to first. Fly ball deep left center field. This one is gone. Goodbye baseball. A walk-off grand slam home run for Bret Boone to win it here in the bottom of inning number 11. Would you believe it? Bret Boone with his 12th home run of the year is greeted by his entire team at home plate, and the Mariners beat the Boston Red Sox.
Woo-wee. You say, Boone, you think clutch. I think that just kind of comes with it. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fiber with you. Charlie using producing, joining us now on the guest hotline, brought to you by Gruber Law. We're joined by our Odyssey MLB insider, Bret Boone. Insider calls are presented by Grainger. For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need, delivered when and where you need them. Click Grainger.com or just stop by. Bret is also the host of the Bret Boone podcast, featuring the most notable names in MLB around sports every week. Bret, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
You got it, guys. How you doing?
Doing good. Is that true though, man? When you say Boone, you think the word clutch? Is that just a deal with the family?
Oh, I don't know.
It seems that way to me, man.
It was fun listening to that. It seemed like it was a couple years ago. Well, probably more like 20. So I don't know if that's the case.
Charlie, what year was that from?
2004.
2004. So you're about right. Yes. Yeah.
Only 22 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember it, though. I remember it.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to get you on because I got wind that you had a chance to sit down with Mark DeRosa, of course, manager of Team USA for your podcast. We obviously have Bryce Terang that's going to be on Team USA here for the Milwaukee Brewers. Your thoughts on Terang and how he kind of fits into that team?
Oh, I think Terang fits into any team. It's weird. Last year being with when I was with the Rangers, I got a chance to see Milwaukee up close, and I was really intrigued by Bryce Terang. I played with his father in Double-A.
Now you're showing your age.
Right. His name was Brian Terang.
Yep.
He was a good player. I think he touched the big leagues. But I was interested to see. I want to see if they look alike, and they do. But he hurt us a couple times in the series. We played him this year in Texas. He's a young player getting better. He steals a lot of bases. He's got some power. I think he hit a couple home runs in the series against us. He's just a good player. He can just beat you a lot of different ways. And like I said, I think a guy like Terang, he fits in on any team.
When we talk about Team USA and how they stack up, and we just see USA do their thing in hockey and win a gold medal for the first time in 40-some years and doing their thing. Talk about how the USA stacks up here in the World Baseball Classic.
Well, it was interesting talking to Mark, and me and DeRosa were teammates in '99. He was a young, up-and-coming player at the time. We got to play together 1 year on that '99 Braves team, and the atmosphere was different back then. It was, I believe, the World Classic didn't come into fruition until I think 2005. But I remember the mindset of guys back then when it came to USA. Now, let me preface this with saying, being on this side of the game and watching the World Classic, and I think what it brings to the game of baseball, I think it's unbelievable.
Yep.
I think it's awesome. I think it's the number one thing you can do to promote this game is having something like this in spring training. But I was talking to Mark. I said, back in our day, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. The players were more in it. No, I got to worry about my team. I can't be going off doing these things. Now that this has become a big ticket, and what USA Hockey just did, to follow that on the heels of that, I think it's pretty awesome springboard just for international sports in general. So I think there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on it. I think the current players today get it. They realize that this is big to play for their country, even though it's spring training. Normally you're just kind of figuring your swing out and getting ready for opening day. I think this has added some excitement, and you can see that with the list of players. I mean, you're getting to Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge, in my opinion, the best player in baseball. Bobby Witt Jr., Harper, those are the guys kind of headlining it. Skeens and Skubal in the starting rotation for those guys. So you're seeing these guys want to play, and it's not just, oh, we can randomly pick off some big league guys. No, the stars of stars are wanting to play for this Team USA. And I think it's a great thing. And I think it's a great tournament, a great way to kick off the 2026 season for Major League Baseball. And we talked about it. He said he's fired up. He said, Boone, I've been going at this for a year trying to get everything set up. And my only question to him was how tough it is because of the spring training situation. Do you need to call each and every general manager to find out how are we going to, because it's an individual thing. Some guys might be a pitcher, position players, you can kind of roll with it. But it's like, all right, how much can I use them? How much can't I use them? Do you feel pressure, Mark? And I asked him this, do you feel pressure? You can't have any injuries on your watch while you're there. What if you've got a Scooble that comes to you? You agreed to a 50-pitch limit, but I know Scooble pretty well. And if you come to him and he just looks at you and said, hey, Skip, I got this. What do you do? And he said, well, that's a good problem to have. He said, but we got to keep these guys safe at the same time. I know Mark, and he wants to win games.
Talking with Bret Boone, Odyssey MLB Insider. Follow him on X at the Boone29. Insider Calls brought to you by Grainger. For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional grade products you need delivered when and where you need them. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. David Sampson, the former president of the Marlins, has his own podcast and so forth. And we played some of him the other day, and he had problems with Scooble and said that there's apparently a report out there that Scooble is only going to pitch a game in pool play, and then that was going to be it. Have you heard anything along those lines? And if so, why bother?
No, that is the plan. That's what they agreed upon. And I asked Mark about that, and he said, Scooble's going to pitch one game. He's going to go back to spring training. But knowing him, I've spent a little time with Scooble off the baseball field, and I played a little golf with him. He's kind of a throwback. He's an old school guy, wants the ball. He's a guy you want to play behind as a defender. But that's just, you still have to look at this as he is paid to pitch for the Detroit Tigers. That is first and foremost. If you can swing this on the side in spring training, everybody's different. I think this is very individualized to each player that's going to this. I think back when I was playing my last years with Seattle, and my job was to get ready for the Mariners opening day. Anything else was secondary to that. Now, if they had this format, I think it'd be great. I think it'd be an honor to go put on the USA uniform and go play. That being said, my main focus has to be on my teammates on that team that's about to kick off the 2026 season, because that's what we're playing for. That's the guy that signs my checks, and I've got to be first and foremost. I've got to honor what he would want. Who knows what goes behind the scenes? Who knows what goes on with what the Detroit, the organization, was saying to Mark when they agreed to do this. The fact that you just have him and you're going to have him to pitch one game, I think is great. Skeens being the other guy, the superstar that I think is leading that in that rotation. So no, I don't see a problem with that at all. And if anybody says that's a problem, it's like, no, I would look at it as I'm lucky to get him for one start instead of it being a problem. So I don't think anybody sees a problem. Mark also, he said this. He said, I didn't just randomly pick the greatest of the great players. He said, I wanted a certain chemistry, a certain attitude that we had when we all get together and launch this thing. And I think that's important in any game. I played a long time, played on a lot of great teams, a lot of not so great teams. And I do know that, talent always is going to trump anything else. But if you've got the wrong talent in the room and the wrong mesh, it can be a detriment as well.
Bret, we saw Sal Freely play in this the last time, and he played for Italy, and he was coming up through the minors and looking at being on a Major League Baseball roster. He's not in it this year. The Brewers trainers wanted him to hold him close after he was dinged up last year, so he agreed, and he's staying back. However, the Brewers overall, I believe, are setting 14 members from their organization, including some minor leaguers, one of which is Andrew Fisher, which is regarded by most as the top third base prospect down in the minor leagues right now. How do you view these minor leaguers being a part of this and the education and the learning process they get out of it?
I think it's awesome. I think it's an experience that you can't replicate. It's something where you kind of go there and, like you said, listen a lot, eyes wide open and just listen, see what it's like, see what it's like rubbing elbows with the best in the game. I remember when I was coming up, and I remember, when I first got that call to the big leagues, and And I thought, oh, this isn't going to be a big deal. I kind of grew up in this lifestyle. But it's a little different being a little kid running around, following my dad. And now all of a sudden, no, this is your workspace. You're an employee here, and I'm hitting BP right now with Jay Buhner and Ken Griffey Jr. and Edgar Martinez. It kind of changes how you think. You watch these guys. What makes them great? So I think if you're a young player in the minor leagues, a prospect that gets the opportunity to do something like this, you can't really replicate it. It's something that you can't really put into words how important and how awesome of an opportunity that is.
So with Bret Boone, Odyssey MLB Insider. Follow him on X at the Boone29. Joining us, Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Turn our attention away from Team USA, if just for a minute or two here, on the Milwaukee Brewers and this NL Central. The Brewers obviously becoming known as the team that ships off top pitchers with a year left, replaces them and keeps on winning the division. The Cubs made big improvements this offseason. I've seen a lot of people picking the Cubs. I've seen some picking the Pirates behind the Cubs, and the Brewers falling all the way in third in the predictions, even though they have Pat Murphy, who's won manager of the year last couple of years. How do you view the Brewers? How do you view the division?
I think, I think inside the game of baseball, I think it's whatever they have going in Milwaukee as an organization, a mindset, the way we do our business, I think it's a winning formula. Council moved on a couple of years ago. Murphy steps in. They win 3 divisions. They've won the division 3 years in a row. That being said, I think the NL Central, and I know whether you'll like it or not, I think it's been the weakest division in baseball. Just for me, with my eyeballs putting it on it, I don't think it's one of the strongest divisions. Milwaukee last year, though, they won 97 games. That was the most games won in either league. So maybe my theory is incorrect. Watching that Brewer team, the way they go about it, it's not a huge star power lineup, but it's a bunch of guys that love playing together and love playing the game.
Wouldn't you have fit
really,
on this team, Brett? Wouldn't you have fit in nicely on this team?
I would have loved it. I would have loved it because when I sit there and I watch teams, whether I'm in the visiting dugout or not, and I watch each and every team and what I see that's special. That Brewers team, and by the way, if you check the record, when they came to us late, I think we swept the Brewers, and we got your big guy Peralta, but that doesn't mean I didn't see what I saw from those guys. It's just a bunch of guys that fly under the radar, kind of keep their mouths shut, and there's just good player after good player coming up to the plate, and some of the guys you don't even know their name. I'm like, who is this guy? I love him. It's just a quiet confidence. I mean, they won 97 games. Nobody else last year won 97 games. But whatever formula Milwaukee's got brewing over there, pardon the pun, I think it's a winning formula. I just think it's a quiet confidence, and the way they go about their business, I think it's great. I think it's the way baseball should be played. It's kind of just a low key. We got 9 guys we're going to run out there every day and kick your butt, and they did a lot of that last year. I think Contreras, and you mentioned Terang going to the Classic. Churio is just, what is he, 20? Is he 22? Is he legal yet? Okay, he's 22. A great player. Yelich came back with a big year last year for him. You're getting Woodruff back. You're losing Peralta. That's going to be a tough loss, but Woodruff's going to be back. And who I was really impressed with, you're getting McGill back at the end of that bullpen, but Uribe last year, I watched him. That's one of the guys that stood out to me in that opposing dugout going, I don't want to face that guy. So I think you got a lot of positive things. I think last year you were third offensively, and I think second in all the game in pitching from an ERA perspective, which I still think is the most important stat. So I think they're just going to retool that formula of getting rid of players, replacing them. That's been a winning formula for them. And I picked them to win that Central again this year, 2026.
The next time I need an hour or two with you instead of just a few minutes, Brett. So since you're in that opposing dugout, what was the scuttlebutt amongst baseball people when they saw Andrew Vaughn do what he did with the Brewers?
As far as
belief of like, holy crap, like he's really doing this, because he really hadn't shown that to that point. Really,
I see what you're saying.
With the White Sox. I mean, he was down in the minors when they made that move.
Right. I just know what I get, the feedback I get from the players. And, because I don't have to go up there and play every night. I don't get to do that anymore. I wish I could, I'm far past those days. But the most important feedback you get, the eye test for me is big. I can sit there and watch and perceive and have a pretty good idea. I can't quite replace being back on the field, though. So that's where I'd lean on my guys. And you lean on certain guys. Usually you're going to lean on the older guys that have been there, done that, because they're going to give you the most accurate feedback. And I'll tell you what, all the feedback I got was nothing but, wow, this guy's good. And the eye test for me on the side, which I put secondary to the feedback I get from my guys, it was really impressive. So I'm looking forward to big things going forward. Sometimes things like this happen, and it clicks at the right time. It's different for everybody. Some guys, it clicks right out of the gate, and they're superstars from day one. Some guys takes a while, and all of a sudden they find it and it clicks. So I think the latter in his case.
Go check out the Bret Boone podcast. Him and Mark DeRosa, Team USA, great stuff. Bret, we'll have to have you on again, man. This was a lot of fun.
You got it. My pleasure.
Take care. There he is, Bret Boone, joining us on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. That was Bret Boone. For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need, delivered when and where you need them. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. That was good. That was the first time we've ever had Bret Boone on the show. I think we'll have him on again. He was good.
Awesome. Yeah. That player perspective especially for this Brewers team. I think you need that sometimes. It's nice to hear the guys that have been in those locker rooms and talk about such a strong locker room.
You know what I want?
What's that?
I know what I want next on this show at some point. And I don't know how I'm going to get him. Maybe I'll have to reach out to Matt Arnold. I want to get a retired scout on. That's what I'd like to get on.
That'd be cool.
That would be the next one. The retired baseball scout that's been around, the guys they were right on, the guys they were wrong on, get their thoughts on current players. Because I'm telling you, when I ask them that feedback question, a lot of times you get these guys that have been around forever. He's done. I knew he wasn't that good when the White Sox drafted him. He's horrible. It's all done. You could see it. And then when he goes, it's, it'll never work. He'll never be this good next year. The lightning in a bottle for a year. Good for the Brewers, but this isn't a long-term thing. You get that type of stuff. And then the guys that were on him are telling those guys, I told you I was right, Larry. I told you I was on that. I told you he was going to be this good. You get that scuttlebutt in the press box or on the side or in batting practices. Get those conversations going on. We need to find a retired scout of some sort to come on this show, because I think it could be great insight for people listening.
That's got to be like one of the hardest jobs ever, because so many players, especially in the MLB, some other sports you get it occasionally, can just have like their breakout seasons at age 30. Right. And then they have 4 straight years of just being awesome. Like Bartolo Colon was like that. He was great at the beginning of his career, was awful like the middle of the career, and just came back at the end of his career at 40 years old and was able to be awesome. It's so weird that as a scout, you can go back and forth on a player like that and not be wrong ever when you're going back and forth on a player like that, because it is such a crapshoot sometimes.
He's Charlie Hughes, C Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Did you say craps because you knew we were going to talk about Potawatomi? Is that what you did? Of course. You just see, that's why he's the best. Can you feel it? The thrill of witnessing a walk-off grand slam. Bryce Terang yesterday. Woohoo! A buzzer-beating 3. You know the feeling. There's only one place to experience that raw exhilaration. The Potawatomi Sportsbook. Catch all the action in a supreme space. Dozens of sports betting kiosks. Right there off the parking garage, for goodness sakes. Cool drinks, 48 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails, luxury seating, 2 floors. That second floor, from time to time, they'll let you rent it out for a business lunch, whatever the case may be. You work out the price with them. Great food, full menu at the Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen. Homemade pastries and desserts made each and every day at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Great atmosphere and a monster video wall, 2,000 square feet. Only at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Best in the Midwest. More info now at Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino. Brian Windhorst. Yeah. No, I'm not playing anything concerning Giannis with Brian Windhorst and ESPN. But Brian Windhorst on ESPN made an interesting point and observation about the San Antonio Spurs, Victor Wembanyama. And everybody was all hot to bother about what he said about the Spurs. I was intrigued by the end of the comments that he made on TV last night. I want to see if you agree with me or not, because I don't know. It just got me thinking. So we'll see what you and Charlie think coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily. C. Sparky Fiver with you. Thanks for listening here on a Thursday. Do appreciate it. Hot Stove Weekly tonight. Tim Allen, the franchise, and Tommy Wirtz from 5 until 7 o'clock tonight. Get your latest on Brewers spring training. And then next week, they will be doing spring training live Monday through Friday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. each night here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Looking forward to that. They'll be down at American Family Fields down in Maryville, Arizona. I have not been down there in several years after going down there every year for like 10 or 12 years with Tim, doing shows down there. The last time I was down in Maryville, the best thing about it was their Walmart. It was a really nice Walmart.
Of course, that's what you know. So there's nothing else there that's worth noting.
Don't stay there.
Was it a nice walk at all anywhere around the parks?
There?
Yeah. I've never been there. I don't know, I guess.
No, the Maryville itself is a dump. So you don't want to book a hotel, a motel, or anything there. I wouldn't do any of that. They have break-ins in their cars and stuff back in the day. Now they may have this all cleaned up. But the last time I was there was, I don't know, 2017, 18, 19, something like that.
Recent enough, yeah.
Yeah, and it was still a dump.
All right.
When they originally put that baseball complex in there, because they came from Chandler, Arizona, up there, the promise made was, we're going to use you as a catalyst to redo this community and pick it up and onto its feet, and here we go. Yeah, they built a Walmart. It's great. It's a nice Walmart. Outside of that, not much else. There was a Sizzler there, and I'm pretty sure that was shut down the last time I was there. So I don't think that's there anymore. Yeah, no, I don't. I think Tim got a tattoo when we were there too.
Okay.
Oh, it's a pretty nice tattoo.
There you
so
go.
there might be a nice tattoo shop there if I remember.
Tommy might be getting
correctly.
his Bryce Trang tattoo then finally.
Yeah, if it's that guy.
if him and
I
Tom
think-
have a good time.
I think it was somebody's relative.
Oh.
Like Giovanni Gallardo's cousin or something. I don't remember. I thought you'd have Tim's memories better than mine. I thought it was somebody's cousin or something that did that tattoo for Tim when he was out there. But yeah, there's nothing there. Like stay in Tempe, Scottsdale, like literally anywhere else. Don't drive in, go to the game. The facilities are beautiful and spacious. And like I've said before a million times, that is a bucket list thing. It's a bucket list thing. Go to spring training in Arizona. Even if you're a weirdo Cubs fan, still go. It is. Now, Mesa, they got a brand new stadium a few years back that's gorgeous, without question. Mesa has a lot of cool things to do as far as bars, restaurants, and all that stuff. But still go, even if, you can only get tickets to one game, because Cubs tickets are near impossible to get in spring training. But even if you can only go to one Cubs game, there's so many other stadiums like Tempe. Scottsdale has the Giants, which is beautiful. Tempe has the Angels, a Talking Stick Resort Casino. They got the Rockies over there. You've got who's in Goodyear? Is that the Reds? I think maybe in Goodyear. So yeah, I mean, there's so many, and everything is like 20 to 30 minutes away that you can, go check out and have fun at. The Royals are in Surprise, Arizona. That's who the Brewers play on Sunday. That's where Tim and Tommy will be on Sunday.
It's both Cleveland teams are playing. There's the Cincinnati and the Guardians. Goodyear.
They're not Cleveland though. One is Cincinnati.
Well, but
Cincinnati.
I meant Ohio. I meant Ohio. That's what I meant. Don't worry about it. You knew what I meant.
That's okay. You normally never screw up. So when you do, it's like, you didn't want to something I would do. So that was kind of funny.
Cleveland's the only interesting part of Ohio. That's why I said it.
But I'm just saying, like, it is a lot of fun. Like back in the day, I know we're supposed to talk about Wembanyama, but back in the day, when they had the old facility. So back when it was Braun and Fielder and Hart and Weeks and Hardy and all those guys. So the cool thing about how they have it in Arizona is the minor league complex is literally across the parking lot from the big league complex. So the guys get right in the big league clubhouse, then they go over to the fields on the minor league side, and that's where they would do all their drill work and everything else in the mornings. It was open to the public. So if you got there at like 8:30 in the morning, you could just walk back and sit on the bleachers, kind of like softball bleachers behind. There's like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 diamonds, whatever it was. And you literally could watch a session of Weeks, Fielder, Hart, Braun right in front of you talking to each other as they're doing their batting session in the morning. and it's morning dew on the grass and the whole deal here and all of them. Then at the end, when they were done and they were come back in, by the time that happened, now we're closer to lunchtime, game time, whatever else. I swear to God, they would walk from there to the Major League Complex, and it would be a swarm of people, like a good 100 people every time. And they would be signing as they were walking in uniform, the whole deal, from the minor league side to the major league side. Fielder would sign consistently. Braun would sign consistently. And I was just like, this is an awesome experience. Like, if I had kids back then, it'd be like, yes, you're coming to do this because this is cool. They would turn around and talk to you if you had little kids behind you while they were waiting to hit or whatever the case was. And yeah, awesome experience. Again, I haven't been out there in several years, but that was very cool. And get out of Wisconsin. Get out of this cold weather.
It's nice right now.
Dude, it's going to be in the mid 80s to 90s out there when they're out there next week, Tim.
It's going to be 56 tomorrow here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, and then in southeastern Wisconsin, snow on Saturday.
But then,
good.
Next Friday, next weekend, back to 60.
Oh, I didn't look that far ahead.
I'm looking that far ahead. I'm a new weatherman over here.
You're a new weatherman. Okay. Well, you learn something new all the time.
Doesn't get me there.
It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Coming up next, let's talk about the Crew. I know we just did it. Also, so the Cub, Charlie's Sounds of the Day. And has your opinion of Doc Rivers changed since the trade deadline? That's all coming up in the 3 o'clock hour. Steve Sparky Fiver with you. Don't go anywhere.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is that time again. Welcome in. Hour number 2 with you. Sparky here. Charlie Houston over there as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Still to come this hour, we'll get into Doc Rivers. Has your opinion changed of Doc Rivers? That comes up in the second segment. Charlie's Sounds of the Day comes up here at 3:40. And then coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, Green and Gold Update. Brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Some quarterback news. One specific quarterback asking for a trade. Would it make sense for the Packers? We'll get into that at 4 o'clock. Jack Stern from Brewer Fanatic wrote a great piece today on the Brewers coaching staff not having a bench coach anymore now that Ricky Weeks is out, and how they've decided to divvy up responsibilities. So we'll jump into that. And then things that we missed on today's show, brought to you by the Admirals, comes up today at 4:40. Now, before we get to all of that, we got to get to this.
It's time to talk about the Crew. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, let's get to talking about the Crew. Before I get to the current Brewers game going on today that had Charlie very, very excited and has him very, very excited. Before we get to that, between the Brewers and the Rangers going on right now, can we talk about Jesus Mate, if you don't mind? I mean, we talk about this kid as a top prospect. We talk about how, he's probably here in 27, I think is what most people are thinking right now. Maybe he's here in September of this year. Maybe. I'm not sure if that happens, but probably here in 27. You see that yesterday? Mate from the left side rips one off the wall after he crushed the ball foul. Rips it off the wall. And what was it? A triple. Then later in the same game, he switches around to the right side and hits a base hit to the right side, Oppo, for another hit. We do not talk enough about the fact that he's a legitimate switch hitter. Like, that doesn't ever come up. We don't ever talk about if he bats left, if he bats right, whatever the case may be. But this is legitimately a guy that is good from both sides of the plate. And now, as a legitimate option, when you're late in a game, you want to pitch a lefty or would you want to pitch a righty? And what are they going to do? They're going to go look at his numbers for the year. Oh, he's hitting 300 against righties and 295 against lefties. Pick your poison. Well, which one does he have less power numbers against? Well, he's got 15 against righties and 12 against lefties. Well, crap, he's good against both of them. It's not even going to matter. That is something that could be a lot of fun. You have Jesus Mate sitting over there on a bench on his day off, and they know you have Jesus Mate sitting on the bench over there on his day off, and there's a big situation, and they go get Mate to bring in the pitch hit. That screws everything up from an opposing team. I don't know if I could name you the top 5 switch hitters in baseball right now, but my feeling is there probably isn't a ton of them that are probably really, really playing at a high level when batting from the left side and the right side, like we're probably going to see Jesus Mate do.
Jose Ramirez came to my mind right away. Same with Francisco Lindor. Ketel Marte is up there as well. 3 of those guys. And the Carlos Santana, like all time, has been really good in that position.
He's 100.
Yeah. Brian Reynolds, Ian Happ. I think the reason a lot of this hasn't really been talked about with Jesus Mate, or Made, excuse me.
Made, sorry.
It's right. Okay. I like trying to get it.
It was
right.
Made for so long. And they sent out an email like last week. No,
it was just a
Todd
tweet.
Todd
Rosiak just tweeted
it out. How to say it properly after he asked them, which is fine.
I think the reason it doesn't get talked about as much with him is because a lot of these guys, I feel like you don't know if it's really truly a tool until they get to the MLB level and show that they can do that at the MLB level. And there's a lot of guys who come up as young players or going through the minor leagues that are doing this that eventually just kind of stick to one side of the plate or get to the major league levels and becomes a platoon player that they just play on one side no matter what because they can't hit that side anyways. But if you can be, if you can be a Jose Ramirez, if you can be a Francisco Lindor, if you can be a Ketel Marte, that's pretty good company to be a part of. That's a great group to aspire to be. And I think Jesus Mate could potentially do that. Now, the question is, in my mind, back off of that, does that change how quickly he gets called up by the Milwaukee Brewers? Does the switch hitting help them at some point?
Hold on, let's rewind. Let's go over the switch hitters you said, right? So Lindor's a shortstop, right? Marte's a second baseman, right? Ian Happ, second baseman.
Left fielder. He's been playing left fielder.
Well, he was infield when he came up, right? And then who else did you say?
Carlos Santana, Jose Ramirez, Josh Bell, Ozzie Albies.
Yeah, so I guess Ramirez is third base. So that's the thing to me is where Mate plays, because Luis Pena is the other top prospect who also has looked well in spring training, and he's going to probably be the second baseman. Both of them can play shortstop, so I'm not saying they both can't play shortstop. They obviously can, but if Terang is staying at second and that's the plan, then I think Made is going to be the third baseman. The problem is not really a problem. It's a blessing. Andrew Fisher is the top third base prospect in baseball. So if Fisher's coming up to play third base, that means Made or Cooper Pratt or Pena is your shortstop.
Or one of those guys, whether it be Bryce Terang, Cooper Pratt, Jesus Mate, hopefully not, Luis Pena, Andrew Fisher, become available on the trade market at some point.
You just want to deal all of our prospects.
I'm not trying to deal them all away, but when you have that
trading your guys,
you can't just let some of those guys just rot in the minor leagues. There's no reason to do that. I think if you get to this point where you start wanting to bring these guys up, the Andrew Fishers, the Jesus Made's, Luis Pena's, whenever those two guys are ready, sometime at the end of this season into next offseason, you have to start thinking about that type of stuff. There will not be room for all of these players. Just realistically, there will not be room. And you need to figure out what you need to do at that point. And if it's Bryce Terang, you don't feel like you can pay him long term, that's something you have to think about. If it's Luis Pena or Andrew Fisher and you feel like you just have too much talent in those rooms and that these guys have so much value right now before they touch the major leagues, you have to start making those types of hard decisions.
We didn't even bring up Jet Williams. And Jet Williams is another guy.
Now he's talking about him in the outfield. Yeah.
Jet Williams has played outfield, but he's been playing shortstop here in camp. So that's another guy. And then Luke Adams is another guy that is a corner infielder / outfielder.
Well, and he can
very
move
well
over first.
Yes, he very well can. But you also are forgetting about Blake Burke at first base. And that is a guy that was a monster power hitter at Tennessee that they drafted the year before they drafted Fisher. Remember,
he just hasn't gotten the same kind of buzz in the minor leagues since he's gotten to that point as an Andrew Fisher, even as a Luke Adams, as he started to kind of rise up through the system. Burke kind of got drafted in my mind and has just kind of been there since.
Okay, so he's only been there really 1 year. Across high A and double A last year, Burke hit 292, 379 on base, 453 slugging, 27 doubles, 16 homers, and 15 stolen bases.
Why doesn't he get talked about the same way?
236, baby.
Why doesn't he get talked about the same way as these other guys?
I'm just telling you.
I know. That's crazy. The fact, there's got to be something that some of these scouts are seeing that limits that for some reason.
Cooper Pratt was not good last year hitting the baseball. Our boy, Blake Burke, in the Southern League at Double A, where Cooper Pratt was, hit 300 with 11 homers in 37 games there. Now, he strikes out a bunch. 135 strikeouts and 567 plate appearances. But again, that's your first baseman. And if you've seen Blake Burke's body, he's only playing first base. We're not putting Blake Burke in the outfield. He's not, he's not Vogelbach or Tellez, but he is a first base body. So that's another guy that nobody wants to talk about, but he also is coming there, Charlie.
Well, maybe DH too. That's another spot, a guy like that, or an Andrew Vaughn if you want to keep that long term.
Burke could be that DH.
Those are the decisions again you have to start making with this team though. As you get to a point where you need to pay a Bryce Terang eventually, as you get to a point where the William Contreras contract is coming up, where you might need to move on from a Christian Yelich at some point, you got to start thinking about where these guys are playing.
Seriously, in 3 years, who's left in this roster? Who's still here? I mean, this entire entire lineup
Churio
could Churio's still here, yes. But other than that, I mean, you start thinking about this lineup. Nobody else.
Maybe some of these guys will still be there.
Could be completely different. So that jersey that you bought, snuggle up nice and tight, because there's no guarantee any of those guys are going to be here within 3 years. There's just not, including Vaughn. I mean, if Vaughn has another good year, he's going to price himself out in Milwaukee. That'll be the end of it.
His arbitration contract this year was already a lot more than I was expecting him to get. I know it's because the White Sox had already paid him at that level, but at the same time, the Brewers are going to notice that. They notice if they have to start paying this guy more and more money. And if he either stagnates or gets worse for some reason, they know they have to move on from that as quick as possible.
Okay, go ahead. Tell us about today's Brewers game as we're talking about the crew here.
So today's Brewers game, the Milwaukee Brewers are taking on the Texas Rangers. In the top of the fourth, the Milwaukee Brewers are leading 2-0.
Refresh. Refresh.
I still have 2-0 on my screen.
I'll tell you what I've got. I have 4-0. Tyler Black with a double and a triple, 2 RBIs, 3 for 3, a run scored, and 2 RBIs for Tyler Black today.
He just put himself into the top of the VCSTPOY award rankings.
You'll never be able to say that again the rest of your life. But very nice.
The Vinny Capper Spring Training Player of the Year award race.
Yes.
In case you guys were wondering.
He is definitely doing his thing. He is hitting .727, an OPS of 2.114. That is psychotic.
That's pretty good.
And he's about to go play for Canada in the World Baseball Classic.
He plays well there and mixed with the spring training.
But he's at first. If they wanted him to play,
he could play third.
Okay, well then why isn't he playing third? Like that's a legitimate question. Tim Allen, Tommy Wirtz can be doing spring training live next week. Ask Pat Murphy that. Like this dude's raking. You have a hole at third base. I know you got the free agent sign from the Angels. But that there, if he actually is going to finally hit the way they've all said he can hit, if that actually happens, then you're going to be kicking yourself because you have nowhere to play him. Nowhere to play him. They're not getting rid of Bowers. They're not getting rid of Andrew Vaughn. So those are your 2 first basemen. You're going to keep Black up there to do what? Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy he's raking, no doubt. Double, a triple, 2 RBIs and a run scored. Brewers are up 4-0 in that game. Ashby pitched 2 innings, 3 hits, no runs, and a walk. DL Hall, 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 walk, and a strikeout. And again, across 3 innings, they have not allowed a single run as of yet, have the Milwaukee Brewers. Oh, our resident guy in La Crosse. Thomas, you are next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Thomas?
Sparky, how are we doing on this wonderful Thursday?
Doing good. Let's go. What you got?
Let's go. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I got some Brewers talk right here. And I want to start off by saying this. I really have been keeping an eye out on some players that have caught my eye so far in spring training. And one of them that sticks out is, of course, none other than Jackson Chourio. And from what I'm seeing, Chourio is definitely looking and feeling a lot more comfortable with the Brewers organization and system. And I really believe he is due for a really standout year. And I'm expecting guys like Saul Frelick, Joey Ortiz to come alongside him and be a good supporting cast too. But what really does concern me, if there is one major thing, it is the pitching staff. I don't know really much about our pitching staff. And in years past, obviously, we've seen the pitching absolutely come up huge, but also absolutely destroy us and Brewer fandom as a whole.
Their pitching staff, Thomas, is probably the deepest, among the deepest in the NL. I mean, as far as starters go, their rotation in AAA may be better than some Major League Baseball rotations by the time this whole thing is said and done. And then bullpen-wise, they're so deep there, they're using starters in the bullpen, like Ashby and DL Hall, who's pitching today.
Good point. So I'm going to hang up here, but I want to hear your thoughts. When you watch spring training for the Brewers, what makes you believe a player's growth is real and not just something that happens for a few weeks here in March? And what do you look for that tells you that it's more than just a spring training game?
All right, so this is the thing.
Sparky, I appreciate you taking the call, though. Everybody, go for your dreams.
There you go, Thomas in La Crosse. Oh, he's got a little catch line on the end of his call now.
I like it.
Look at that, dude. Yeah, go for your dreams. All right, Thomas, we'll go for our dreams. I support that message. I'll back Thomas's message there. Okay, so this is how I look at spring training. Differently than how I did, say, 10 or 15 years ago. Like, I put a lot into what was happening in spring training back in the day. And then I realized that teams just don't care. It's just a waste of your time and energy. Get all excited. But I think, as we've talked about before, when we were talking about who really needs a big spring training and to play well, when you're talking about guys that you might have to count on, or you know you're going to count on, who are coming off of a miserable year or who are looking to break through and so forth, you want to use spring training as a confidence booster. You want to use spring training as that springboard into hopefully a good April. And as we know, once somebody is confident in doing something, then that momentum just goes and away you go. And it may catapult you into a great first half, maybe a whole year. Who knows how that goes? Just like if you get into a funk, that could snowball for a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, and destroy the whole season because you can't get yourself out of the funk. It's the same way with being confident and grabbing that momentum. So from a hitting perspective, that's what I look at. And that's why this Tyler Black thing, even though I like having fun with Charlie about it, is entertaining, if nothing else. Now, you're going to see him in the World Baseball Classic, and we'll see. I mean, if he comes out of the World Baseball Classic hitting like how he's hitting in spring training, I think they have to have a conversation of maybe we see if he can play third. I don't think he can. But maybe we see if he can play third base, at least average-wise, at third base defensively, and try and get him on the field more because you can't deny how well, the stick is working. I think we're going to see old Tyler Black in the World Baseball Classic, and we're going to go back to seeing what we saw every other time he's come up to the major league level.
He hits a walk-off.
But we'll see.
I'll play it for Sound of the Day every
Team
single
Canada.
day. Yeah, every single day.
He might. I mean, he might. Awesome. I'm just saying.
Well, and I think I think a lot of people look at the guys like Tyler Black and say, those are the guys you need to be watching in spring training, those AAA players that are getting this opportunity to play against some kind of MLB talent. But I don't really think it's that. I think the guys, when I'm excited about a player, it is the Andrew Vaughns, the guys that are at the major league level that are starting to get hot early in the spring training. Some of these guys that aren't maybe the star players that are looking to take a next step. And for them to play well in this spring training, for them to get into that groove, I think it only accelerates that into the regular season. Brandon Lockridge is another player. I know he's not always going to be considered an MLB level player, but the fact that he came to this Brewers team at the end of last season, was able to kind of fill in for Isaac Collins and do what Isaac Collins at least part could do, and then coming into this spring training and keep that up, it tells me that that depth at that position is going to be safe. And I know Tyler Black is almost at that level for a third or first base depth, but at the same time, I mean, we've talked about it. He's a quadruple A player, maybe not to the same level as some of these other guys that have been through the Brewers system, but he's that type of player.
All right, let's talk about our fine folks over there at Prize Picks. I know so many of you are playing Prize Picks right now. We made our lineup yesterday, and wouldn't you know it, Wembanyama is the reason why I lose it.
Of course.
Literally, he had two players. Like, Wembanyama is a beast. You would think, oh, okay, he's got it. He wasn't even close to getting it correct. That's the heartbreaking thing. It wasn't like he missed by a rebound or an assist. It wasn't even remotely close. I think I feel better
about that usually.
What, that he's not close?
Yeah. It's just like, well, okay, we never had a shot, I guess. When you get close, you get the antsy. You want it to go, and then you get disappointed.
There was no antsy. He never
yeah,
got
that's
close.
Fine. That's better. That's better.
Right. Yeah, fine. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, it's 2 or more players. Stat projections set up there by Prize Picks. All you're doing, again, is more or less. Use that promo code to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That means if you play $5 lineups, you put in 5, they give you 50. That means you can play 11 $5 lineups. That'll take you a while to get through 11 lineups, right? Then, if you convince your significant other to do it with you and see who does better, and you each put in 5, that's a lot of entertainment y'all can have on a night-to-night basis for quite some time. It makes all the sense in the world. And Prize Picks puts their users first. So all withdrawals are fast and secure. Prize Picks accepts most major payment methods, making deposits into your account quick and easy. This sports season, it really is a no-brainer. And if you want flexibility, choose FlexPlay, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the Power Play, No matter your play, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the test. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code Sparky to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Sparky to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. Has your opinion of Doc Rivers changed since the trade deadline? Bucks with another big win last night. Discuss that coming up next. Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
About a delayed chase down from behind. I thought it was going to be Miles Turner with the block, but here comes KPJ. I'll take that, Miles. Chill out, big fella. I got this.
I'm telling you something right now, folks. Lisa Bynes and Marcus Johnson, the call. FanDuel Sports Network. Kevin Porter Jr. is doing things. He is doing things. And we could talk about the offense and what he's doing there with scoring the basketball and assists and making big shots at the end of games and everything else. But he's creating turnovers with tip balls, getting steals, being aggressive, chase down blocks from a guard. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what I think he's going to turn into or who he might be. But everybody's over on this side going, oh, Ryan Rollins. Oh, we love you, Ryan Rollins. I love Ryan Rollins. Okay, fine. I love Ryan Rollins. But Kevin Porter Jr. is something else. I mean, this dude here, you're going to get Giannis back, right? You're going to have Rollins, KPJ, Miles Turner, Portis, Cam Thomas, struggled again last night. Those guys are all going to be in the mix to score the basketball. And then Kuzma, who's on a heater right now, the last few games, which has left Jang sitting over there not doing much of anything, which is fine. And now Jang probably won't play at all when Giannis comes back because they're going to want to keep Kuzma on the floor. But I think KPJ is still going to be the second guy, scoring-wise. He's going to be the guy that's going to be that 20-point night scorer kind of going forward here for him, Charlie. And I think I'm okay with it.
That's probably why they didn't make a trade for another player like that, because they believe KPJ can be that player for them, because Giannis probably believes he can be that player for them. Again, the way he's acted on the bench since he's been out with this injury, he seems like he's got a new energy to him. That's Giannis. And I think that's something that is really eye-opening and really telling about how he feels about integrating himself back into this team when it's ready. And I think he sees what KPJ is doing. I think he sees what Ryan Rollins is doing, what Kyle Kuzma is even doing at this point, and says, you know what, when I come back, I think I can see myself fitting in a way that maybe takes a little pressure off of my calves and off of my back, and that I can go out there and just do my thing while these guys can feel comfortable as well. I don't know. I feel pretty confident the way this Bucks team is playing that Giannis should fit in seamlessly, man.
If you missed it last night.
No need to rush. Plenty of time.
11 seconds here to work with from the elbow. Steps it back. It is pure. Kevin Porter Jr. gives the Bucks the lead.
Piniac gets him to play this out. I believe he is.
He's got one timeout if he wants to use it. The Bucks have one timeout as well. And Struder driving, penetrating, rings out. The ball's loose. They're going to score it.
Wow.
To tie it.
Just in time.
Oh,
maybe not.
This.
Maybe not.
They're showing this shot on the scoreboard.
This is awful close.
Ball is in hand with the zeros.
It would be no basket. The ball was going into the offensive person's hand and then see zero.
Bucks win back-to-back tear tubs in back-to-back games.
Again, against two good teams, Miami and Cleveland. Now, Cleveland, admittedly, was out without Donovan Mitchell and was without James Harden. So their two best players didn't play. So that should be considered here. Bucks obviously didn't have Giannis. That should also be considered here. But when you're winning, you figure out how to win close games. And at one point in the second half, they were starting to pull away a little bit. And then here come the Cavs. They pull right back even with them again. And now it's nip and tuck. End of game situation, like you heard. KPJ, go and gets you that basket. They're just haven't been those guys. I mean, Middleton was that clutch guy when he was here, but outside of that, there really hasn't been that guy with Giannis consistently in end-of-game situations.
No, and Damian Lillard should have been that. He was that for like 3 weeks.
Like a second.
Literally 3 weeks, he was that. He was the guy that was closing out games for the Bucks. It was like 3 games in 3 weeks that he just was the guy. He did the Dame time celebration. It felt awesome. You can tell that's something that this team needs. And I don't think it has to be a superstar like Damian Lillard. Like you said, Chris Middleton, while he's an all-star, all-NBA type player, probably will be a Bucks legend, maybe even retired by the Bucks to some degree. this is something where you can look at a guy like KPJ, you can look at these Cam Thomases, you can look at the Ryan Rollins and say, you know what? I think those guys are confident enough to be that final shot taker. Again, we talked about this yesterday too. You have to make sure that when Giannis comes back into this lineup, that he knows those guys are ready to be confident. Those guys know that Giannis knows that. And I think they will. I really do believe that this team is playing with a new energy, and Giannis is there watching it and is ready to step into that.
Yeah, no question about that. And again, we brought up earlier about Ryan Rollins and the love affair this fan base has with Ryan Rollins. He also played huge in this game.
Double team. Inside 2.5 to play. Ryan Rollins in the paint. These Bucks guards are going back to work.
Great is this to see this young man just come of age as a basketball player.
Ryan Rollins in traffic gets the bounce. He's got the last 4 for the Bucks.
That is what happens. They kind of go back and forth scoring. Now, Rollins had like 3 knucklehead possessions in a row, turning over the basketball, making bad decisions. But there was also a situation, I forgot who he had pinned to the sideline. He came running up and essentially like pushed him out of bounds. Dude fell out of bounds and said, Bucks ball. They challenged it. Nah, too bad, so sad. Bucks ball it is. Rollins forced that too. So again, there's instances both ways with Porter Jr. and Rollins where they're making things happen on the defensive side of the floor. And there's instances in both situations where you're like, oh my God, what are you doing? Like, please get your brain back in your head. And, you get that drought where, you go 3-4 minutes, you don't score the basketball or whatever. Those are the things you're trying to essentially stop in this game. But last night, again, Miles Turner looked better in that game last night. Kuzma continues to shoot the ball fairly decent in that game last night.
Sims continues to play well.
Last couple minutes of that game, there was no Miles Turner. He was on the bench. Jericho Sims was on the floor and playing at the end of that game.
You needed that because, like I had mentioned before, Jared Allen had been playing really well in the month of February, and he played well last night too.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so the question is this. All the positivity of the Bucks, back-to-back wins, playing really well in their last 10. Has your opinion of the head coach, Doc Rivers, changed since the trade deadline and this team has been playing much better? Has it changed? Nicolay Law Talker text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Let's go to Johnny on the north side. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, Johnny?
How you feeling, Spark?
Good.
In a nutshell, to answer your question, no. Why would it? Like we haven't beaten anybody. There's nothing to hang our hat on here. I believe that the players are playing better. If you remember when the season started, the Bucks started out kind of hot. It's like we're playing like that again. Maybe gotten the belief back into guys or whatever or whatnot. But I just argued with a guy that right before that Toronto game at the kiosk was making a bet about the Bucks. I said, man, listen, the Bucks haven't beaten anyone. We haven't beaten anybody in this stretch. If you want to say Miami, I could possibly make an argument against that as well. But we haven't beaten anybody. When we are playing teams that's worth it, we getting thumped. We got thumped by Toronto. Got thumped. I don't even know if that's a word, but that's the description of that. We got thumped by Toronto with no. They didn't even have what's his name? The center, Barnes. They didn't even have Barnes, and they at home. We none of these are definitive wins. I give you that we don't have Giannis or anything, but we haven't beaten anybody.
Okay.
I do like the Bucks are being competitive though.
All right, Johnny. So here we go. The Knicks and Bucks are in Milwaukee tomorrow night. Is that a big win if they beat the Knicks tomorrow?
I will. Yes. Yeah.
That would count.
Yeah.
Okay. Then they're at the Bulls on Sunday afternoon. That won't be a big win.
No.
Then they're home against the Celtics on Monday.
Depends on I'm thinking against the Knicks and against the Celtics. Watch everybody doesn't play. It's sad that the Bucks have become the team that teams aren't playing everybody against and expecting their sideline players to be able to beat us. And I just hate that for us. But a win is a win. I do like the spree. I do want to ask you a quick question before I get off. Do you see a world where we get up out of this? We get out of this play-in, and let's say we even stay in the play-in, and we end up with that A seed, and it's us in Detroit. I can see a world, though,
Yes.
with a healthy Giannis in
Yes.
this team right now, that we get out of that first round against the Detroit or I think maybe Cleveland is the only team I would really truly try to avoid. Cleveland and Boston in the first round. Everybody else, though, I feel like a healthy Bucks team, if we were to get in that play-in and get that spot, I feel like we can beat them in 7 games, though.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I agree with you on Detroit. I think they can get them, too. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it, Johnny. But the key is going to be, again, as we discussed yesterday, the ball movement just has to be there. Like, if when Giannis comes back, we stand around and watch Giannis, then it's going to be in and out, and that'll be the end of it, and toodles to you. They're not going to be able to finish this. But, yeah, I agree. I feel like they will have a very real opportunity to knock the Pistons out if they were to get through this play-in tournament, have that 8-hole, and then go do something. Absolutely. In fact, Camille Davis was just on with the Mason Crosby show with Mitch Thundernellis, presented by Verizon, talking about the exact same thing. Go back, listen to that podcast, wisportsradio.com. Let's go to Tom in Cedarburg. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Tom?
How you doing, guys?
Good.
I'm not sold on Rivers until I see how he works Giannis in with this semi-new group.
Yeah.
Because like you just said, Sparky, if he comes back and he hogs the ball and these guys don't get their shots, then that's going to be on him. It's going to be on Doc. So the other guys are learning to play well together, and they're moving the ball around most of the time. But it's up to the coach to keep that going with their superstar in there.
And I think that is going to be the biggest challenge of Doc Rivers, and you are absolutely correct about that. Thanks for the call. And that is, how does he integrate back in? And part of that's going to be on Doc. And can you get Kevin Porter Jr., Ryan Rollins, Cam Thomas, Bobby Portis, Kuzma, all these guys? Can you keep all these guys happy enough with touches and shots so they don't become even more disinterested in being on the floor? Because that's a real thing. If I'm running back and forth for 10 minutes and I haven't even seen the ball but 1 or 2 times and haven't even gotten a shot up and he's got 6, yeah, you're going to lose guys. It's just natural human nature. That is going to be a thing. And that is going to be on that coaching staff to figure out how to convince them and Giannis that moving this basketball is the best option. Not that Giannis still doesn't get his, 20 shots or whatever, but to make sure that it doesn't stop and die at certain points for long periods of time. You go 5-6 possessions in a row without a pass, that's a problem. They can't have that, Charlie.
No, they can't. And I think, again, with the way we've seen them integrate Jericho Sims into this offense a little bit more and having that outlet pass from the paint, you can start using that more with Giannis. Like you were using it during his MVP seasons. They were using that a ton. There was the one where he hit James Harden in the side of the head because he threw the ball so hard with the outlet pass. You can do that with Giannis still with this team. And again, I think Doc Rivers, for some reason, and this kind of frustrates me a little bit with him too, it feels like up until the trade deadline, he knew that was not the team he was going to play with for the rest of the season. So it just almost felt like he didn't really care what they did. He just wanted to feel out those players and see how they were going to play. And then all of a sudden after the trade deadline, he put a game plan into place, like just out of nowhere. Why are you starting now? I know you don't want to play like Cole Anthony is going to be a part of your rotation for the entire season because you just know that wasn't going to be the case. At the same time, don't just mess around. Like that's the tanking that everybody else is complaining about when you're just doing that because you want to wait for a half a season. Learn what these players can do earlier until now halfway through the season when you're fighting for a playoff spot. Doesn't really make sense to start having game plan now.
Also remember, Kevin Porter Jr. was hurt too. I mean, you got to remember he was out as well.
Giannis is out right now, and they have a game plan, man.
Yes. Nicolay Law talking text line. If you want to participate, has your opinion of Doc Rivers changed since the trade deadline? 414-677-1250, 1250. From the 414, Sparky, be ready when Giannis comes back to see him put up some 15 and 25-point triple-double type games for him, and lots of them down the stretch in late March and April.
That's what Jokic does. He has those games where he can score 50, but if he needs to take a backseat because Jamal Murray is playing out of his mind, he can do that. I think Giannis can do that too. Again, during his MVP-style seasons, he was having games like that, and that's part of the reason that made him the MVP. This is what he needs to do coming back here, and not only will it help the flow of this offense and this team, it'll help keep him on the court long term.
No doubt. We have to get to a quick timeout. I failed at not looking at this text line for the whole show until just now. Ziggy tweeted in, or texted in, I should say, during that last segment. We're talking about the Crew and Tyler Black. 2 days ago, Sparky wanted nothing to do with Tyler Black. Now he's leading his fan club.
Just like Jericho Sims. Same deal. Sparky just likes to hop on the bandwagon, guys.
Charlie knows damn right well I ain't not no damn Tyler Black bandwagon. Not in the least bit. Not gonna happen. No.
Yeah, he'll never like him as much as Anthony Siegler.
No, Anthony Siegler is another god awful one. I don't know. I mean, Siegler was another guy they said good hit, and it just never worked out. So we'll see. Coming up next, Charlie Sounds of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Can you feel it? The thrill of witnessing a walk-off grand slam, a buzzer-beating three. You know the feeling. There's only one place to experience that raw exhilaration, the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And trust me, it's the best in the Midwest. You will love it. And then you'll be like, Sparky, I should have listened to you sooner. Catch all the action in Supreme Space with dozens of sports betting kiosks. Come right there off the garage, right off the park walkway. You can come right in. You got Rock and Brews right there. Great family dining, restaurant, great personal pizzas. Highly recommend. And the kiosks are right across, right there by the bathrooms. People come in, make their bets, and then they go out and play craps or do whatever they got to do. Go have a nice meal at one of the many fine dining restaurants at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. It's a beautiful thing. Great drinks as well. 48 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails. Great seating, 2 levels there. Full menu at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Homemade pastries and desserts, brunch all day. And you got a monster video wall, 2,000 square foot screen, up to 30 sporting events they can show you at one time. It's awesome. Only at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. More info at Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Hope y'all are well on a Thursday. You know who's well? Habish, and Rotier, baby. Plead the Fifth Friday tomorrow at 4:20. Your chance to tell me or Charlie or any other personality on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network or some TV personality or a media member or a player, a coach from anywhere. Some shh. Sometimes it's smart to keep quiet. Times when you need the right team speaking for you, like Habish, and Rotier. This is where we do it. They've been around since 1930. You hear me talk about this all the time. Going on 100 years, 13 locations across the state. Yes, they're in Wausau. Yes, they're in Green Bay. Yes, they're in Appleton. Yes, they're all over the place, right there where you need them. National reputation. How do they get that? By winning. They win. Which is good. Hometown service. That's the other part of what they say. Why is that such a big deal? Well, you don't want to be treated like a number, do you? Some of these places you go to, you're just another notch in the belt or whatever the case may be. In and out, baby. It's a factory. That's not how they treat you with Habish, and Rotier. They treat you like you are the most important person, and they take care of you that way. And it's awesome, and you will love it. Habish, and Rotier, if you're involved in a car accident, personal injury, and you need somebody to talk to, that's who I say. Habish.com. Call them 1-800-2HABISH. Again, 800-2HABISH. Visit them at Habish.com. Habish, and Rotier. National reputation. Hometown service. Charlie Usen, I'm going to give you the option of we go now for Charlie Sounds of the Day, or we combo it up in the last segment of the show.
We'll go now.
We're going to go now.
Two of them in LA.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie, use it. What do you got?
All right, so first up, we're going to head on over to spring training, where the Atlanta Braves were taking on the Detroit Tigers. The Braves announcers were discussing major prospect Max Clark and the chains he was wearing during the game. The reason I wanted to play this clip was because of a tweet that somebody attached to it.
Scooble, who made $32 million, which for $32 million, you can get half of what Max Clark's currently wearing on his neck.
My goodness. I was going to say, when they drafted him third overall, Clark, he signed for just under $8 million, and he might be wearing that around his neck today.
That's wild, man. I mean, these kids are different. They're just built different, and they're more comfortable, which I think is a good thing. But that is, I mean, there's no chance that there was a kid who'd never been in the big leagues would come into camp like
he's got Acuna over there now. Into the bright blue sky, shallow left center. Oh, Clark dropped it. So the highly touted prospect, all the bling around his neck, but the sun got to him there and was not able to make the catch.
So this is from FryDaddy/Frito on Twitter. Apparently he's a retired MLB player, 13.3 thousand followers. He says, let the kids play, right? Poor Emmanuel De Jesus hasn't pitched in the MLB since 2023, but no one cares because the top prospect with the aura couldn't catch a couple routine fly balls. This is what happens when organizations hype up prospects who haven't done anything at the MLB level yet, who are more concerned with building their brand than actually playing the game.
Who gives a damn what the heck that kid is wearing, man? Like, I do not care. Do you realize that a lot of these dudes wear fake jewelry? A lot of these dudes, it looks real, and I'm sure they paid a pretty penny, but it ain't real. You realize a lot of this stuff is fake?
A lot of them talk about it.
And I'm not saying this dude was wearing fake jewelry. I'm just saying a lot of them do wear fake stuff. They like how it looks. They don't want to wear real stuff and potentially get ruined or whatever. All right, go ahead.
Next up, Matt Ishbia, owner of the Phoenix Suns, doubled down on his tanking take on Pat McAfee yesterday.
It's an embarrassment. It's horrible. Like, my perspective is tanking is loser mentality. Like, I've never been around anyone. You show me someone that wants to lose or thinks about losing, like, I'll show you a loser. That's losers. That's not my stuff. And so I don't like losing. I don't want to ever talk about losing. We try to win. And best, the draft works. If you don't win, you don't have a good team, you get a good pick. But if you purposely trade for players and then don't play them, trying to lose games, like, I think it's bad for the NBA. I think it's bad. I think Adam Silver knows it. Organizations know it. It's got to change. It will change.
I like him. He could have been a Bucks owner. Him and Mark Lazary were talking, and then he took over the Suns, and we got stuck with Jimmy Haslam. But at some point, he's going to realize what everybody else is going through. He just is. And he hasn't been around very long, which is fine. But this draft class is unbelievable. This does not happen on most years of the blatantcy of what they're doing. And that is because of how good the draft class is. I don't have a big issue with it. I just don't. Doug Gottlieb was on this morning. I saw Wisconsin Sports. Go listen to it. The headline of the article is Doug Gottlieb pretty much says tanking is good because it works. That's it. What more do you need to know? Plain and simple. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios. Hi, by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Fiber with you. Up next, Green and Gold updates, and a quarterback is requested out of his current team. Does it make sense for Green Bay?
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
I cannot stop laughing. Like, I am so excited for this spring training trip for Tim Allen and Tommy Wards. I cannot tell you.
I'm stressed out here.
I cannot tell you how excited I am for Tim Allen and Tommy Wards to be doing spring training live next week, Monday through Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. Broadcasting live from down in Maryville. They'll be up in the booth at American Family Fields, have all kinds of interviews throughout the week. You'll hear a lot of those interviews on all the shows during the day as well, whether it's Inside Wisconsin Sports, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 with Trevor Thomas and Josh Albrecht, or it's 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff, or this show, Wisconsin Sports Daily, or during their own show from 5 to 7 with Spring Training Live. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to that because every time we start talking, me and Tommy, and he breaks something up like, oh, no, that's not how Tim likes to do it. No, this is how it's going to be with Tim. And Charlie is, every time we have a conversation, Charlie's like, dude, I am so stressed. I am so stressed, and I'm not even going right now.
Again, it's insane. All the stuff, like, I like being places early. I like getting my sleep. Like, all these things that I know Tommy is not going to be able to do.
Tim Allen is not any of those. Tim Allen does not need a ton of sleep. Now, he likes his afternoon naps. He'll take an afternoon nap.
I'm a nap guy. I could do that.
Right? He likes the afternoon naps, but like going to bed late and getting up at 5 a.m., he does it like every day. So, I mean, it's normal. He'll be fine. Yeah. Now, Tommy, how he's going to react to all of this.
Tommy will be fine. He barely sleeps anyways.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out. Jack Stern, BrewerFanatic.com will join us coming up here in about 15 minutes. We're at a great piece today on the Brewers coaching staff and how they're divvying up responsibilities without having a bench coach, with Ricky Weeks being moved to within the organization and Pat Murphy and Matt Arnold deciding that they don't really need that position. Speaks highly of the job Ricky Weeks did. So we'll talk to Jack Stern about that. Things Sparky missed, brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals, coming up at 4:40. But now, let's do this.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
All right. So news came out earlier today that the Indianapolis Colts and quarterback Anthony Richardson have agreed that it would be best for both parties if they find a team to trade Anthony Richardson to. Because the one thing that we do know is that they are not going to let Anthony Richardson try this again. Anthony Richardson right now counts $10.8 million against the Colts cap. With the trade, the Colts would create about $5.385 million in cap space and absorb $5.43 million in dead money. He has appeared in 17 games with 15 starts in 3 seasons. But, must be noted, he wasn't able to finish 4 of those starts because of injuries. He's ended up as 8-7 as a starter out of those 15 games. Now, right away, there have been some teams tied to Anthony Richardson as far as teams that would make sense. One team being tied to Anthony Richardson are the Miami Dolphins, because by all indications, they're moving on from Tua and that gigantic contract. And Richardson isn't making a lot of money. The Jets, who need quarterbacks. The Steelers, who need some future quarterbacks, regardless if Rodgers comes back or not. The Browns, well, you've got Deshaun Watson, who I'm assuming is going to try this. You have Shador, you have Gabriel as well. I don't know why in the world they'd want Richardson. You've got Shador, Sanders, and Gabriel already.
Like Deshaun Watson.
It doesn't make any damn sense. The Falcons, potentially, because Penix can't stay healthy like he couldn't stay healthy in college. But that's also a knock on Anthony Richardson, so that doesn't make sense. The Bears, if they were to trade Bajan away, You think that's actually going to happen? Because you and I have been talking about this off the air. Tyson Bagent, the backup quarterback to Caleb Williams.
The Bears have bluffed about almost everything that's come out this entire offseason. They weren't going to move to Indiana. They weren't moving to Iowa. They're going to stay at Arlington Heights is the latest reports that they've come up with a deal with Chicago and the city of Chicago. They've bluffed about Tyson Bagent this entire time. They've made him seem so much better than he is. I can't see a world where he's a starting quarterback for an NFL team in 2026. And I think that's insane that they even brought it up. I think they're doing it to try to trade him, try to get him to move on.
Pick.
And if he starts more than 10 games for an NFL team, I will be shocked.
So there's the deal on the Bears. Vikings, quarterback room is a mess with J.J. McCarthy. The Commanders, losing Mariota, probably likely, so he'd be a backup there. The Rams, would McVay want a future project behind an aging Matthew Stafford? Might make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Cardinals, Kyler Murray era, we think is done as well. And then the Packers are listed as well because they're going to lose Malik Willis. We ask you here in our Green and Gold Update, brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, would you make a Malik Willis-style trade for Anthony Richardson of the Indianapolis Colts? Would you do it? Nicolay Lautaka text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, streaming live on X and on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. Of course, if you missed any of the interviews, shows, or anything like that, you also can check that out podcast form at wisportsradio.com. There is 0 chance I want Anthony Richardson on this Green Bay Packers football team. Now, let's all be honest. I'm a Colts fan as well. I've watched this disaster. I didn't want him coming out of Florida. I thought it was a horrible pick when they made it, and it's proven to be true. While I understand Matt LaFleur is amazing in developing quarterbacks and getting Malik Willis his bag because he's about to get it here next month, I get all that. I don't want this dude. No. Let me explain to you where I think my issue is on all of this. When they drafted Anthony Richardson, there's a story about how him and Downs, the other wide receiver they drafted that year, were literally in the parking lot of the hotel they were staying at. And Downs is running routes and he's throwing the ball to him and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay, well, this is going to be fun. Like, he's a student of the game. He's going to be studious. He's going to be our guy. Let's go. I don't feel like that's necessarily worked out to be true. I don't feel like we've really seen that necessarily out of him. Secondly, when you have a quarterback that can't stay healthy and is continuously hurt, missing big games, who refuses to change the way he plays, I'm not sliding. I'm going to run over a dude. That's my style. That's how I play. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Like, no. From a physical standpoint, he's a monster. He can run. He's got a gigantic cannon arm. Like, he is everything. If you were going to build physically, potentially, the perfect type of quarterback, it's Anthony Richardson. He's an absolute beast. He's hard to take down like Ben Roethlisberger was. He can escape and get out and run upfield, throw the ball like 75 yards. He's unbelievable. But he can't stay healthy, and he makes horrible decisions consistently. I can't get down with this, man. I don't want to go down this path. And even if it's a 7th round pick, I think if you trade a 7th round pick for this cat, you're kind of going to be connected to whether you want to be or not if you go out there and do this.
Do you think if he hadn't started as many games as he did and played as long in those games as he did, it would be easier to make this decision? Like, if he had played as much as Malik Willis did when they made that trade, do you think you would be more on board with this?
That means he played a lot less than he's actually played. Probably. Because there's not as big enough sample size where you can say, okay, he got hurt in that game. I mean, I read it to you. He got hurt in 4 of those games that he couldn't finish or whatever. Like, that's a thing to me. That wasn't a knock on Malik Willis. They just didn't give him a chance. And it's funny you bring up Malik Willis Because on the Nicolay Talking text line, 414 from Patrick and Tulsa, Sparky, I would prefer Will Levis if we can fleece the Titans again.
That's crazy. I think that's insane. Will Levis has such a bigger sample size compared to Malik Willis, compared to even Anthony Richardson at this point. You know what Will Levis is. At least Malik Willis, you could say there's something else there that we don't know about. I think you can still say that about Anthony Richardson.
See, that's the thing, though. You sit here and you talk about the Packers. Do you want to go down the road of drafting a quarterback in the 5th or 6th round and saying, okay, come on in, we're going to groom you to be Jordan Love's background? Or would you rather just go get a veteran out there that if you have to go play with for a couple of games, he'll be fine? Malik Willis was not that, right? Nobody felt confident they were going to win with Malik Willis coming into play behind Jordan Love. It turned out great, and you developed him. If you go back to the Packer days with Brett Favre, what did he have? In the beginning, he had young guys, right? He had Mark Brunell. He had Matthew Hasselbeck. Aaron Brooks was a third-string quarterback who went on to start for the Saints and was really good with McCarthy as his offensive coordinator. So you had Matt Flynn as well, right? You had guys that turned out to be starting quarterbacks in the league. And now Malik Willis is going to be another one. I think if I'm the Packers right now, I want a veteran. Think Doug Peterson, as he sat there and held the clipboard for Brett Favre, because Favre wanted another old guy with him to hang out with because he was at the end of his rope and he wasn't hanging out with all the young guys anymore. That's why he was there, for that reason. Kirk Cousins, anybody? Bring him in on a cheap deal to be a backup to Jordan Love? I don't think he would do it. I think Kirk Cousins ends up back in Minnesota. But we do also know this. Calvin O'Connell has a huge admiration for Anthony Richardson and told him so previously after a football game against the Colts that they caught on a microphone. So that would not surprise me at all if the Vikings decided to go trade for Anthony Richardson and told J.J. McCarthy, best guy wins.
I'd be intrigued in that. I think that'd be a fun quarterback battle. And again, Kevin O'Connell knows how to get the best out of all his players. And if we feel like what we've seen was J.J. McCarthy's best, it shouldn't be hard for Anthony Richardson to win that battle.
I agree with you. Okay, so this is the question. If you were the Packers, would you make a Malik Willis-style trade for Anthony Richardson, who he and the Colts have agreed that a trade would be the best thing for both parties? Would you do it if you were the Packers? Nicolay Law Talk text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Sparky here, Charlie over there, and this guy, Justin in Watertown. You're next. What's up, Justin?
Hey, Sparky. So a couple things about what you said. First of all, I don't think they need a veteran backup right now. With where Love is in his career at this point, you don't want to put some veteran back there that you think might have to play and start over him. He's at a point in his career where he's the guy. Put someone young behind him that he can help develop. And then we get to, like you were talking about with Brunell and Detmer and all these guys, someone that we can then trade for assets. That's the only downside to what happened this year is we couldn't trade him.
Right.
He was a free agent.
Yep.
So I would not mind this trade because I have confidence in our system to be able to build him up into a position where he'd be able to be successful.
How high of a pick would you go? They gave up a 7 for Willis.
Yeah, 6 at the most.
Okay.
I don't think he's worth that much because, like you said, he's a wild card right now. No one knows if he can stay healthy. You put him in as a backup. You hope that Love can kind of teach him. You trust LaFleur to be able to coach him up. And then you got to help get his mindset. You are a backup. You're only going in because we have no one else. You have to stay healthy. Right?
That's
Hopefully
exactly
that
right.
mindset will help change him. He kind of reminds me of Jameis Winston a little bit at the beginning of his career. But once Winston became a backup, it kind of changed his mindset.
Yeah, I think that's a good comparison, Jameis Winston. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Kind of the difference here is I feel like Jameis Winston, players love that dude. He may not be all that great, but players love playing with the dude and hanging with the dude at the end of the day.
And he can be great sometimes. He has his moments. The other guy I was thinking is the other guy from his draft class, Marcus Mariota, I think could be a really good backup for this Green Bay Packers team.
And we know he led a crappy offense in the Titans when Matt LaFleur was his offensive coordinator.
Exactly. So they have that relationship together already.
I'm not a Mariota guy.
I think this whole idea of, not wanting to put a veteran behind Jordan Love because what if he plays better than Jordan Love and you have to play him? I think if you have that mindset already when you're looking at the quarterbacks in this free agency class in the trade market, then you already shouldn't think Jordan Love is a starting caliber quarterback if you feel like a Kirk Cousins can come in and outplay him.
Agreed.
Like that is loser mentality. Going back to what Matt Ishbia was saying before, I think this is something where he's right to some sense, that is Justin, where yes, you don't want to take that confidence away from Jordan Love, but at the same time, if you're confident in Jordan Love, who cares who the backup quarterback is? That guy should be able to come in and work with Matt LaFleur, and that Jordan Love can be your guy.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Jordan Love hasn't stayed healthy either.
So you said a lot of things about Anthony Richardson that you could kind of apply to Jordan Love sometimes.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, he hasn't stayed healthy either. So he's not Brett Favre. I know that. So from that perspective, that's why the backup quarterback is kind of important, especially in this damn division. If Jordan Love misses 2 games a year, those 2 games can be the difference between being in the playoffs and not being in the playoffs. So because of that, I want more of a veteran quarterback versus more of a young guy. Now, if Love hadn't missed any games the last 3 years, okay, well, that's different. Like, he hasn't shown the ability to get hurt. So we're just going to rock and roll with what we have, and I think we'll be fine. But that's not been the case. As far as Richardson's contract goes, by the way, there is a club option for $23.5 million in 27 that a team could essentially be willing to go with. That's why that makes sense for Minnesota, because they could easily take that and go $23 million, and we fixed them. That's a really good deal for a starting quarterback in the NFL if he's everything that Kevin O'Connell thinks he can be. And you could exit stage left on J.J. McCarthy and be done with that project.
That would just be crazy.
Well, it's better than
fix everybody but J.J. McCarthy. I would retire.
Well, you know the other name that's being thrown out there about that job, the Rodgers name, has been thrown out there too. And he ends in Minnesota like Favre did. That's the other name coming up. I'm just saying. CB, downtown Milwaukee, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, CB?
What's going on, my man?
How are you?
I'm all right. Richardson, I wouldn't deal with him, but I'm going to throw a wild card in there. What y'all think about Justin Fields?
Sure.
I'd be intrigued. Yeah.
I would do Justin Fields for a couple games here or there if they need him. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be more better than Favre's rookie or a second or 2 year player. Yeah, get some experience.
Yeah, I'm fine with Justin Fields. I don't think I would mind that one at all. Thanks for the call. He reminds me more of Malik Willis than anything, if you think about it. And you look at Justin Fields, he is a free agent after this year. The problem with him is that cap hit's $23 million. So good luck.
Yeah, and I'm
not rolling with that.
Well, and I think a Justin Fields is a guy that kind of in that same vein of a Malik Willis, if he wanted to, would probably be a starting quarterback in the league. I think some of these teams would give him a chance. Still, he played okay at the beginning of the season last year for the Jets until the whole team just kind of fell apart on him. So that wasn't really his fault. I think he still has a shot to be a starter. I don't think he would accept a backup role, at least at this point in his career yet.
It'll be after this year because he's not going to get a starting contract after this year. So after this year, he's a free agent. Then he's going to have to take backup money from somebody. And then that's where it makes sense for obviously Green Bay. Coming up next, Jack Stern, BrewerFanatic.com, wrote a great piece on this Brewers coaching staff and how everything is changing without a bench coach. Straight ahead, Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. I like this one. This is good. I like Shinedown. I get down with this.
Yeah, this is a good one. I agree.
Yeah, I like this one. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Fiver here, Charlie using over there. Joining us now on the guest line. Powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. There he is. And you know something? This guy, Jack Stern, brewerfanatic.com. If you're live streaming right now on X and on YouTube, you follow him by Jack Stern on X. You realize that man has never had a hair on his head ever out of place at any moment he's ever been on this show.
Always ready to
ever.
go, dude.
But look at his hair. It's always perfect. It's never, ever out of place, Jack Stern. That is amazing.
I think you guys are just always catching me at the right time. That must be what it is.
I guess. Yeah, sure. The other thing about Jack Stern, and you just heard it right there, he should be doing voiceovers for like movie trailers. Instead, you're covering the freaking Brewers. Like, you're completely missing your calling. You could be making a lot more money doing movie trailers, Jack.
I'm a weird guy, and I decided that I wanted to pick a job that I liked instead of a job that made me money. So, you know what? Here we are. But we're doing the best we can with it.
If you change your mind, I'll be your agent because we'll clean up out there. Jack, you had a great piece today on the Brewers coaching staff and their decision not to replace Ricky Weeks. I don't remember the dumb made-up name they had for him, but as bench coach to Pat Murphy last year. I read that piece. I read Murphy talk about how him and Matt Arnold decided that these other guys could all do it. There's no need to have another guy come in here. Two things. One, I'm curious to know whether or not that was a cost-saving measure, because that's normally how it happens in every other industry. Let's cross-train everybody so we can do these jobs with less people. So that was my first thought when I read it. And my second thought when I read it was, what the hell did Ricky Weeks even really do last year if they don't feel like they even need to replace him at this point, Jack?
Yeah, it's hard to rule either one of those out. You never know for sure. So I'll give you that one, Sparky. But it's just what I keep coming back to is I think baseball coaching staffs are in just kind of a weird space right now. There's so much more information going around in the game. A lot of this stuff has really taken off within the last 10, 15 years. And I think teams are just kind of trying to find the right mix of coaches. Like, how many coaches do you need to have? How many different roles do you need to have? Who's doing what? What's the best way to do it where you have enough guys going over this stuff, but they're not talking over one another? And it's a tricky balance. And, you know, I don't know if we can necessarily say right off the bat that the Brewers for sure have the exact setup that is going to end up working the best for them. They certainly seem to think so based on what Murphy said and the conversation that he said he and Matt Arnold had. But we do know that they have a pretty good collection of minds there. I am curious, though, to see the way that this all works out, because what they're doing, even for modern baseball standards, it is different. Even a lot of teams who have done this stuff where it's, to your point, dole out roles, do things a little differently. This guy is in charge of this. They do still have a bench coach, and it is one less guy now who it seems a lot of information is going to be coming through. Now it's going to be a little more split off, and then it comes back to Murphy instead of maybe Murphy and Ricky Weeks near the top step of that dugout. It is going to be a little bit more specific to each of these guys. So they're doing something new, even for what a lot of teams do this day, which is different than it used to be. This is another step of difference beyond that.
So who then gets the responsibility of helping Murphy with late game situations of who to pinch hit in this situation, when to get this guy up, and all of that fun stuff? Who does that fall on?
So it sounds like from what he said in that media session that I was in, for offensive moves, pinch hits, that kind of stuff, pinch runners, that's probably going to be Jason Lane. For who to get up in the bullpen.
Jason Lane, the guy that was at, Jason Lane, the guy that was at third base, who they no longer wanted at third base, somehow or another got promoted to be in that role now?
They think, I don't know if a lot of people know this, Pat Murphy really, really likes Jason Lane. He speaks very highly of Jason Lane all the time when he talks about the coaching staff. So, Sparky, I can see your face on video right now, but this is the guy that they believe is best equipped for that role, and that's going to be the role that he fills this year.
There you go. Brewers fans, get ready. See, y'all thought you're done yelling about Jason Lane. Jack Stern just said, oh, no, not so quick. You'll have more stuff to yell about. But if we're being honest, I love Ed Cedar, but people were mad at Ed Cedar every season as well. Like, I just think the third base coaching job is the most thankless job potentially in pro sports. Like, is there any fan base ever happy with a third base coach in Major League Baseball?
I would say third base coach and hitting coach. I don't think you can find anyone who likes their third base coach or anyone who likes their hitting coaches.
Which is crazy, but that's exactly how it is. Now explain to me and the people listening what exactly Daniel Vogelbach is doing. Because I think Brewers fans, super excited. Vogelbach is back. People just like him and liked him when he was here the last time. So people are excited he's back in the organization. But what are his responsibilities to be? Because they have a million hitting coaches.
Yeah, so he was the one that I kind of circled right from the moment they hired him because I was wondering, how's this guy going to fit into what they do? Daniel Vogelbach is a hitter. He was one of the most patient hitters in baseball. He was kind of known for taking strikes early in the count if he didn't think that strike was in an area of the strike zone that he hits best. He'd get a little more aggressive once he got to 2 strikes, but early in the count, that's something he would do. That's something that the Brewers want their hitters to do as well. Murphy has talked about it. They want them early in counts taking the borderline strike or taking the strike in their cold zone as opposed to maybe swinging at that and, rolling over it, grounding out, or popping it up. So I kind of asked the question of, is this something that you think Dan Vogelbach can help with? Because this is the kind of hitter that he was. And Pat Murphy did say, it's not always as clear cut as just telling everybody, hey, swing at this one, don't swing at this one. But they do think that Vogelbach, as a player, because he was so big on approach and guiding guys' approaches and just knowing kind of what you need to do in the batter's box, what your plan needs to be, they do think that he is going to help out a lot with that, really helping guys understand what their approach needs to be. And I talked to him about it, and Vogelbach said, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. Hitting is hitting. You've always needed to have a good approach in hitting, so that's not anything new. But it does seem to me like they brought in a guy in Vogelbach who maybe even if he's not necessarily bringing anything new or inventing anything new per se, he's very, very good at coaching approaches. And I would guess that that's going to be a very big part of what he's doing. It certainly sounds like that's the case based on some of the comments that I got.
Talk with Jack Stern, brewerfanatic.com. Follow him on X by Jack Stern. Got a text message that came in here on the Nicolay Law Talking text line from Dan in Waukesha. Who's going to run the team when Murphy gets bounced from a game, which we all know will happen?
I would guess that's also probably going to be Lane. It just seems like offensive strategy guy. Like if I'm trying to pick a title that's the closest to bench coach, or also trying to pick a guy that I know Pat Murphy would trust to do it, I do think that it probably would be Jason Lane.
All right. Talking with Jack Stern, as I just said, I want to go away from the coaches, if you don't mind. I want to go to what's going on in spring training right now, because it's a running thing on this show right now. I'm not a Tyler Black fan. I would have traded him and been done with him. I think he's 4A. Awesome. I think he's a 4A player at this point. I'm done. I just be honest. I fell in love with Keston Hiura. I thought that dude was going to be unbelievable. He gets up here his rookie year. I still think he's going to be unbelievable. And then that was it. It just lights come on in the regular season and away goes Keston Hiura. And he's done it at every stop since he's left here. So right now, Tyler Black again today, single, double, triple, RBIs up the yin yang. He's been great. Now he's going to go play in the World Baseball Classic. We'll see what he does. If he continues to hit, and they're not playing him at third base, where he's potentially could play, even though defensively I don't think it would be wise. If they're going to play him at first base, which is where they are, I don't see how he's on this team, right? I mean, how does he make this team even if he's hitting well?
I don't see it either. I think the only thing he'd maybe have in his case would be if he was out of options, but he's not. So they can still send him down to the minor leagues. And it really is still kind of the same problem it's always been. And I don't even ever think it's been an issue of, could Tyler Black be a guy who is an okay hitter in the big leagues? Like in the minor leagues, this guy has always had a pretty good hit tool. He's got a very good eye at the plate. He draws a lot of walks. The weakness is that he doesn't have a whole lot of power. But first base, if you're a first baseman and you're kind of just an on-base guy and you're not really driving the ball a lot, if you're a good defensive first baseman, maybe that'll work, but he's not a good defensive first baseman. He's a poor defender in the infield, and he's an on-base speed kind of guy. It just has never fit with the way the Brewers roster is put together, and I still don't think it does. I think in a perfect world for him, the best case scenario is he's on a team where he can play left field and he can be roughly a league average hitter as a left fielder and an okay defender. And I think that's an okay player. For a lot of teams, that's an okay player. It just doesn't fit on the Brewers, though, and that's been the case for a couple of years. I don't think it changes, and as long as this is how their roster looks, and as long as Tyler Black just is not a good defender in the infield and is limited to first base, I don't think it really matters how much he hits. I just don't know that there's ever really going to be a spot for him.
There you go, Charlie. You just heard Jack Stern say it. It's not happening. Doesn't matter how good he is. It's
doesn't
not
mean
happening.
He's not going to win the Vinny Capra Spring Training Player of the Year award.
And like Vinny Capra, he'll be gone. But that's fine. He could win the award though this year on Vinny Capra. Yes, you're right. Jack, the bats off the bench for this team right now. Once we get past, those starting 8 position players, is there a battle still for the guys that are going to be coming in off that bench right now, or do you think that's pretty much decided as well?
I think there's still a couple things to maybe watch there, like what's Jet Williams going to do in spring training. Eddie Leonard.
He's not even on. He's not even on.
Guy I've seen.
Yeah, Jet's not even on the 40 man though. That leads me to believe he's probably stuck down in AAA.
Right. So that I think he's got a lot to prove here if he's really going to work his way into the mix. But it is a guy the Brewers like. They're giving him reps all around the infield. It's going to be interesting to see. I think the bigger question more than anything might be, how is the playing time going to be divided up? Like, how much is it going to be Luis Rengifo at third base? How much is it going to be David Hamilton? I think that might be the bigger question, not so much who's going to be on the team, but who's going to be filling which role in the infield and which role at third base and who's coming off the bench when. That's kind of what I'm watching for more.
If they traded David Hamilton tomorrow, nobody would care in the Brewer fan base. Nobody would care. It would be completely fine. If he never plays third base, nobody would care. It would be completely fine. And Rengifo, as like you just said, people probably didn't even watch him play a lot either earlier in his career, but you look at his numbers, you feel a hell of a lot better about that offensively than what you do with him. And the other part about this is I continue to say this. They are so stacked in this farm system, as you well know, because you're a minor league guy too, with everybody that they have coming. Charlie and I were talking about it. In 3 years, a majority of these guys aren't on this roster. A majority of these guys are probably going to be somewhere else playing. So I look at third base this year as a gap year. They really don't kind of really care all that much. They're just biding time, waiting for the left side of this infield to potentially get up here at some point in 27, and then they're moving on. That's how I think they've decided to approach third base this year. It's kind of a gap year and just trying to get through until next year.
Yeah, I think their whole idea here is what can we do to kind of replicate what Caleb Durbin did last year, that same level of production for one more season, and then you turn the keys over to one of those younger guys who have a lot more upside.
Speaking of that, what do you make of Jesus Made in spring training so far, Mr. Stern?
He's he's looked the part a little bit. I think he's had some interesting swings. He's hit the ball hard a couple times. He's had actually some pretty good takes too from what I've seen, just the way that he seems to respond to pitching and respond to pitches. I'm not a prospect guy who gets to, go to the games in person all the time in the minor leagues and watch these guys. But I think there is a certain level of adjustability and a certain level of maturity for his age. And I think those are always the two things to really look for in a lot of these super prospects. If they have those kinds of things and you see those kinds of things, that's when I think you can really start feeling pretty good about them actually tapping into the talent. Because a lot of these guys are really talented. But the rest of the makeup is what matters too. And, I think I've seen some things just in terms of just the way that he seems to approach the game. He doesn't look like he's that much younger than the guys that he's playing against. There's an adaptability there. Like I said, just those are the kind of traits that I think bode really well for a guy.
How many eggs are in the basket of Garrett Mitchell staying healthy and playing this year for the Milwaukee Brewers right now?
Well, they have a lot of outfield depth, so I think that's something they need, especially with Garrett Mitchell's spotty history. I don't know that you can ever really plan on him playing a full season. From what we know so far, the Brewers are easing him in very, very cautiously. He was out of the game after a couple innings in his first spring training game, and that was by design because they're trying to ease him back in physically. So, I don't know that they have too many eggs in that basket. I think that there are still guys in the Brewers organization who really, really like what Garrett Mitchell has the potential to do when he's healthy.
Like the
So I think
GM.
Pardon me?
Like the general manager. Matt
Yes.
Arnold loves Gary Mitchell.
Yes. And it's not hard to see why. Like, he's very athletic, and I think when everything does click for him, he has one of the highest ceilings out of anyone in the outfield. My thing has always been, I think there's so many flaws in the profile, and then you add in the injuries, which have prevented him from really getting time to sort those flaws out. I just have a hard time seeing it all coming together for him at any point. And I think that's kind of what you need to plan for, even if you want to dream on the ceiling there. So, the Brewers are going to give him an opportunity to get a lot of playing time in center field if he's healthy. I just don't know that you can really count on it. So that's when I start looking more at, okay, how much center field could Jackson Chourio play? Is Brandon Lockridge going to be able to produce the way that the Brewers seem to think he's able to produce as well? How does Blake Perkins look offensively? Like, those kind of players, I think, are the next level of players you need to look at. Because, knowing what we know about Garrett Mitchell, if it goes well, he probably would be their best option if everything clicks and he's healthy.
It changes this lineup. It changed this lineup dramatically if it goes well. I'll take him hitting the ball over Perkins. I know that much for sure. And defensively, I don't know if he's Perkins, but he's not a slouch defensively either. I mean, he gets hurt playing defense, but he's not a slouch. He can go get a ball.
No, he's a very good defender. I think before he got hurt last year, he was playing at a Perkins level on defense. So he's got that in him.
One last question. You watch a lot of baseball. You coach a lot of baseball. How close is Chourio to break into that next tier of baseball player?
The one thing I will say about Jackson Chourio is it has taken a little bit longer than I thought for the plate discipline to kind of come together. I thought in year 2 he was really going to take a pretty big stride, and he didn't. Now, to his credit, because he is so talented, he was still a good baseball player. But I'm kind of starting to wonder a little bit now, like, when are we going to see it? I don't know that it's going to happen this year. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I thought we were going to see him have better quality at bats, like the kind of pitches that he's swinging at, the way that he's playing the game, like having a little more fearlessness and not seeming to question himself defensively sometimes. To have not seen that really last year as much, to me, that's kind of like the missing piece. And I don't know for sure if it's going to happen this year. He has a lot of time to figure it out. This is kind of the piece of it where, I left spring training right as games were starting. It would have been nice to maybe see him play some games in person down there to really get an idea for sure. Once we get closer to opening day, I think I might have a better answer on that one, but that's what it comes down to for me. I think the swing decisions have to be a little better. I think he's just got to get out of his own head a little bit when he's in the field too, and just trust his ability to make plays, because we see the ability is there. Those are kind of the hurdles that I think he needs to get over. And once he does that, that's when I think you're really going to start to see some special stuff.
Jack Stern, BrewerFanatic.com. Great piece right up now on this Brewers coaching staff. Follow him on X at @ByJackStern. Thank you so much for coming on, my friend.
Yeah, good to talk to you again, Sparky.
You betcha. Take care. There he is, Jack Stern, joining us on the guest line, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. Coming up next, things that we missed on today's show. And I am looking forward to talking about several different topics. We're in the NBA. We'll be in the NFL. And we're going to go back to this Wembanyama thing with Brian Windhorst that we're going to talk about at 2:40 that we didn't get to. Lots of ground to cover. Coming up next, it's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Don't forget, Hot Stove Weekly with the franchise, Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz tonight from 5 to 7. Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky 5 for Charlie Usen producing over there. Other side of the glass coming up in about 10 minutes or so. Hot Stove Weekly with the franchise Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz will be here with you from 5 to 7 o'clock, getting you ready for more Brewers baseball and getting you updated on the great Tyler Black performance today in spring training. I'm sure that we'll have fun with that one. And then next week, Spring Training Live, a nightly show from 5 to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, as Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz will be in Phoenix, Arizona at Maryvale, what used to be Maryvale Baseball Park, now American Family Fields. Get a sponsor, it changes everything, but still in Maryvale, known for its Walmart. So they'll be there, and they'll be broadcasting live interviews all next week. Lots of stuff from Tommy Wirtz on social media next week with pictures and videos and all that fun stuff. So if you're not following us on social media, make sure to do that today. WI Sports Radio, Instagram, X, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere you want us to be. We are there. Yes, we are.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
All right, here we go. So earlier today, we're going to do a segment on this. We got sidetracked, so I wanted to make sure to get it in here today. Brian Windhorst last night on ESPN got to talking about the Spurs and how I love the Spurs. I'm gonna get my reservation. I'm gonna go see them in the finals. And blah, blah, blah. Okay, so just bear with it. Listen through this. At the end, he starts talking about how rare it would be if the Spurs were to go win this thing in the finals, and that it hasn't been done in quite some time. Actually, I think it was the 90s the last time it was done. Check this out.
Don't quite have hotel reservation, or don't quite have spots yet for dinner in San Antonio, but I know where I want to go. I got my hotel, Malika, because Victor Wembanyama is such a special player that he breaks all the rules. Normally, I would say I am not gonna believe in a team that has 0 playoff wins as a group that is going to win 12, because you know how hard it is to win 2 playoff games, much less 12, especially in the conference finals. But Victor breaks all rules.
Oh, I did. It's not the piece of audio I was looking for. That's okay though. So in that piece of audio, he goes on to say that it hasn't happened since the Shaquille O'Neal Orlando Magic, and he thinks Wembanyama can be that. He can be Shaq, essentially, to carry his team at a young age all the way to the finals. Now, Shaq had Penny Hardaway as his right-hand guy when they got on that run. I think Horace Grant was on that team. Who else was on that team? I'm trying to think of who else was on that team. But either way, it was a good basketball team. It got us thinking here, and maybe it's a topic for another day. Victor Wembanyama, Shaq. Victor Wembanyama all day long. Shaq was power. Shaq couldn't shoot. Shaq was an okay passer, but not to the ability of what Victor Wembanyama is. And then as Charlie and I were talking before the show, it's like, if you start thinking about it, have we seen anything even remotely close to Victor Wembanyama as far as how he can really truly dominate a basketball game because of his size, because of his athleticism, his shooting touch, like everything that goes along with it? Have we really seen somebody like this? The only person that I can come up with, and it's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like, that's all I got, where he was significantly bigger than most of the guys he was facing, blocking shots left and right all over the time, an indefensible skyhook that nobody could stop or deal with, dominated the rebounding aspect and boards, won championships in LA with the Lakers. Magic Johnson says time and time again, I don't have him, but probably don't have any rings. Widely in the conversation of greatest player of all time from those people that watched him play. I think that's the closest one I've got is Jabbar at this point, Charlie.
I mean, the other guy I can think of that was that successful early on in his career is Hakeem Olajuwon.
That's another one.
That's another play that comes into mind. And then I know Nikola Jokic took himself a little bit longer, but the dominant run that he's on right now and the way that he affects just the game around him so strongly, that's another guy. It's all legends. It's all Hall of Famers.
I'd have to go and look at the actual numbers. But like Hakeem, I don't remember him being a big block guy. Joker has been to a degree, yes. I think I still think when this is all said and done, Wembanyama has a chance to be the greatest center of all time. If he could stay healthy, which was my knock on him coming out of school. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. He didn't come out of school. Came from overseas. Coming up next, Tim and Tommy, Hot Stove Weekly, get you up to date with all your Brewers stuff. Lots and lots of player sound to hear from coming up tonight. Enjoy.